I just told you to cry.
Because you told me to.
Oh, wow. I told you to jump off a bridge, would you?
Yes.
Oh.
Amber, you told me specifically that you were in charge of me.
I have never, ever made that claim,
I
ever.
will make all the best choices for you. Do what I say and only what I say. Hold on, let me check my calendar.
As you pull out a stack of cheese.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all have different, the age of the cheese, it ages in a very predictable way. It was May 17th of this year, you said that.
I do highly doubt that. I'm not making any decisions for you,
right.
ever.
Fine, then I'll quit crying.
Good. But I enjoy it, so if you like me, you would keep crying. It's very just trap right now.
Yes.
All right. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Amber, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
Good.
But feeling kind of empty inside now that I don't hear your tears.
Really? I feel pretty full inside. We just got back from brunch.
Oh my God. I ate too much.
Yeah. Not that you ate too much, but you had a big omelet.
I don't think it was 3 eggs. I feel like it was like 5 eggs.
Like
half a dozen eggs that they put in there.
And like a pound of spinach.
Yeah, and cottage cheese.
Yeah.
Well, the cottage cheese wasn't in the omelet.
No.
It was on the side.
Yeah.
You didn't like that I was eating cottage cheese.
Like
you were judging me.
Given the choice, you had a choice between cottage cheese and hash browns, and you chose cottage cheese, which I think was maybe not your best choice.
Listen, you told me don't eat a lot of heavy stuff because you'll go into a food coma when we go to record. So I was trying to prevent that from happening.
Thanks.
And I drank like 3 cups of coffee.
You drank plenty of coffee. So, yeah.
There you go. I was only thinking of you when I ordered cottage cheese.
Aw, that's like really nice.
Yeah, well,
it's really nice.
I'm very nice, and like you.
Right. I am a terrible person.
I know.
Do you remember like a year ago? We were in a van.
Okay.
And we were driving back from Wisconsin.
Okay.
And you were like, "Hey, Dave, you know how we've talked about making a podcast? Here's a really cool one." And you turned on, was it Wonderful?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't remember.
Don't worry about it.
Anyway. And like it was like
I picked the worst episode you could possibly.
It wasn't a great episode.
It was the newest one that was out.
But it was also like super sunny.
Yeah.
And like everything was great. And here's some interesting things. And wow.
Isn't it? Farmer Market's great.
Farmer's Market's great. You know what else is great? Music. Wow.
Wow. Live looping.
Like, Amber, I can't make a podcast like that.
I was just like, it was just like the same kind of vibe where it's like, well, not vibe, I guess, but more like same kind of structure where it's just like 2 people talking about stuff.
And I get that now.
Which is a lot of podcasts.
No, not necessarily. But I've said, like, we can do that only if it's the opposite.
Jaded.
Right.
Angry.
Right. Like.
Sad.
Mm-hmm, misanthropic.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Thropic.
Who cares?
Someone will care.
Someone will write in and be like, you can't
use the
words. You don't know how to use them. Oh, well, whatever.
And so, to that end, I think I have a confession.
Oh, God. Is it going to be really upsetting?
Or
is it going to be like, or is it just going to confirm everything I feel about you in general?
I'm going to go with 2 and 3. It's going to upset you and confirm everything you know about me.
What was the first thing I said?
Will it make you sad?
Okay.
So, okay. At work.
Okay.
Have I officially disclosed on this podcast that I'm a librarian?
No, this has not come up at all.
Okay.
Because I was trying to respect your, like, privacy needs.
That's not an awful idea. And I've danced around that a lot about, at work things happen. At work, I deal with a lot of old people. And there's kind of 2 classes of old people of what I found.
Okay.
Like really old people, like 80 plus.
Yeah.
Sweet as pie. Just love them. There's a little old lady that I see once in a while that if she honestly looked me in the eye and said, "Dave, I want to elope with you. Let's go to Vegas," I'd do it.
Wow.
Like, I sincerely have a crush on this woman. She's awesome.
Okay.
But then the other class of old people from like 60 to 80 are awful people.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I don't know. This is probably a long answer.
Okay. I'm listening.
But I think generally that is the baby boomer generation.
Oh, you mean this specific generation? Yeah, I see it. Yeah, entitled.
There's certainly a sense of entitlement and a sense of like.
I mean, I guess it happens every generation where it's like back in my day or that nostalgia.
Yeah,
thing.
for sure. But
it
I
definitely
think,
feels with this generation,
yes.
the baby boomer generation. They're
and
really
I think,
bad about that.
I read a book that touched on this stuff a while back, but their theory was the boomers were born into a world of plenty.
Yeah.
And like these parents who like sacrificed so much to like be able to come home and have a awesome family, and the kids didn't want for anything, and like they've gone their whole lives just kind of getting everything,
right?
And as old people, they still have that sense of like, oh yeah, I deserve whatever I get, and these things aren't anything bad that happens isn't my fault or whatever,
right?
And to be fair, I'm speaking in really big generalizations.
Yeah.
There are for sure awesome people of that age, but.
Right.
By and large, the people I deal with, as a rule, if I'm dealing with someone who is a complete butthole and is entitled and completely like all kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
Self-centered?
Yeah, for sure, self-centered, and odds are they're in that age group.
Yeah.
Age group.
Age crap. It's like almost like they don't know how to empathize almost.
Right. Or they've just chosen not to. I don't know.
Or just aren't very aware of what reality of the situation in the world is right now because they live in a very, like a bubble almost.
I was talking to this lady a while back, and the topic turned to history, and she said something about Lady Bird Johnson.
Yeah.
She's said something Lady Bird Johnson, but you probably don't know who that is. And it's like, yeah, I know who Lady Bird Johnson is.
Right.
Like,
even I.
First Lady, like Lyndon Johnson.
Right.
Like, yep, pretty much know who that is.
That's so
but there's
dismissive
this, like,
and weird.
I know, this sense of like, I know this thing that you don't. Isn't that cool? And
but it's just Lady Bird Johnson.
Right, but it's not anything that's like significant or especially like a difficult fact or like some obscure thing.
It's so weird too, because like I can think about instances where it's happened at work for me, where I've had people like it's like a weird like. Not only am I being like mansplained to, but also age explained
right.
to.
Which probably happens more to you than me because you are younger than me. You're 12 years old.
Yes, as we talked about as we drove up. Yeah.
But I'm older, but it still happens. It's only with that age group.
Well, of course, because they've got the
they're older.
Yeah.
Right.
And so for me, one of the things that cracked me up recently, or not recently, was I always say recently, but I usually mean like 2 years ago. I had somebody, I think in that generation, try to tell me, because I was upset about the election, and they were like, well, you've only known Obama as president, so you just don't understand how the cycles go. And like, we're trying to be very babying to me. And I'm like, all right, I'm at work and I can't cuss you out right now.
Right.
Because
yeah. And so, right, like you said, you're at work, so you can't, like,
and I didn't know
go
just
off.
Obama. I also knew Clinton.
Yeah.
And a little bit of Reagan. Wait,
Reagan?
Not Reagan. I'm stupid. I'm going to cut that. Who was right before
Bush?
Clinton? But
Bush the painter? Yes.
No. I'm talking about before Clinton.
Before Clinton was Father Bush.
Oh, yes. That's what I was trying to make sure.
Okay,
it's Father Bush, Clinton...
Son Bush.
Baby Bush. Oh, that does not sound good.
And then Obama.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want to recast that whole thing?
No.
Okay.
No, not Reagan. Why did I think Ronald Reagan?
I don't know. Like, I was around for Reagan.
Was he? When was he?
Reagan was before Father Bush.
It's probably because it's. I remember parents talking about Reagan when I was little younger, while Bush was president, and then Clinton is when I wrote to Clinton, and I got a cool sticker back from the White House.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, I like your cat. Your cat's name's Boots. That's pretty cool. I have 18 cats. And then I got a sticker. And then yes, definitely George W. Bush.
Right.
100% remember all that shit. And then obviously Obama.
So
anyway,
I have found a solution to this problem.
So you found the solution to entitled baby boomers?
To feeling bad, or to feeling upset about entitled baby boomers.
So dealing with your upsetness.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I found that solution in the most unlikely of places. It was actually on my phone.
Okay.
I downloaded this app called Trivia Crack.
Okay, what's Trivia Crack? 'Cause I don't know
it's like a trivia game.
Okay, like Trivial Pursuit?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a faster paced Trivial Pursuit.
Is it through Facebook or something? Or
No,
I
mean, you can get through it through Facebook, but it's just an app.
Okay.
Now, I mean, I don't have very many skills. Right. But one of my skills is I'm pretty good at trivia.
Okay.
Actually. And so it just randomly matches you up with people.
Yeah. They like have usernames like Cat Lady.
Yeah, or sometimes it's like yes, Cat Lady 420.
Yes.
And so it just randomly matches you with people.
Okay.
But like because of the nature of the thing, it's a game that kind of appeals to baby boomers.
Is it?
I think so.
What do baby boomers like?
Well, like
complaining.
I think they have grown up with like watching Jeopardy of a night.
Okay,
right?
Okay.
And it's like, oh, I'm pretty good at Jeopardy. I'm gonna get this trivia game. But I'm really good at trivia.
Yeah.
And so I destroy them.
But do you know that they're baby boomers?
In some cases, yes.
Because they put in their, they like I said, Cat Lady 420.
Or they will have like pictures, like a Facebook picture as like their little avatar.
Yeah, so you can see them.
Yeah. This makes terrible podcasting, but like this guy.
Oh, I like this guy in the sense of he makes me want to laugh. So like he's wearing a turtleneck under a shirt. He's got all of his like army or whatever badges on.
Some kind of military insignia.
And has a American flag, and he is grinning.
Right.
He's proud of his country.
And he looks like he could be about 70.
I would say 68-ish. Yeah, close to 70.
Crush him.
Do you can you like replay the same people?
Yes.
So are you constantly replaying this one guy?
Yes, and he got frustrated enough he won't like respond. Yeah, it isn't like there's not an option to shut it down, but there's an option to just not respond to this person who started a game with you.
Okay.
So I keep doing that.
So you keep being like, hey, what was Ed? Hey, Ed.
Yeah, like I played Ed, I won. I played Ed again, I won. Yeah. I think there was probably a third or fourth game. And by then he kind of quit playing. And so I just keep restarting games with him. Be like, hey, I know I kicked your ass, get back up.
Is this the only person, or do you have multiple people?
There's another person that fits that.
Oh, yes.
Joyce,
yeah.
I think Joyce, yeah.
Joyce, yes.
Which is a good baby boomer name anyway.
Yeah, she's also definitely in her 70s.
Just crush her. Just like I use all the power-ups and all the little bonuses just to make sure that like I just grind them under my boot.
So what kind of into dust?
Yes.
What kind of questions are these?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of it is user-submitted questions.
That's stupid.
Yes, but there is kind of a vetting process where you can actually go through and look at submitted questions and see if they're good or not. Yeah. And I'm assuming there's a whole process for that. But some of them are good and some of them are bad.
Well, yeah. Like, what would be a good trivia question? When were skis invented?
Right. And some of it is garbage like that. There are categories, and it's there's entertainment and history and sports and art and science and geography are the categories.
I remember half of a piece of trivia.
Okay, good.
It was about lava lamps.
Ooh, yeah.
And I can't remember any of it.
Yeah, that's the part you can't remember.
The trivia part.
You remembered how it was about lava lamps, and that's like half of it.
And like the original bottle was like a soda drink, and it was actually called something after the soda, and I can't remember.
Huh.
I'm very, very bad at trivia.
Yeah.
Like I would be crushed probably 100% by you.
My current record in the game, let me find it, is 50 wins, 1 loss.
Wow.
Yeah, if I come up against someone who I don't like, doesn't like trip those triggers as like baby boomers, I play them once and they go on. But if I catch one, oh yeah,
it's so satisfying. I approve of this. What's the coolest piece of trivia you know?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
God damn it.
I mean, there's a lot I don't know. I don't know that it's cool.
It's so hard to just come up with like random interesting facts. And
right. There are, and they're like I say, interesting is such a subjective term. When I was in high school, they had like a quiz bowl kind of thing.
Yeah.
Of course, all the smart kids did it. But all the smart kids in my grade didn't want me on their team because they were kind of cliquey. And so I joined a team of like underclassmen.
Yeah.
and we won.
Nice.
And like the final was against those kids, and like we killed them.
Nice. Great. That must have been good. Like I remember my big thing was in like elementary school and was we usually had like these, it wasn't the Rosewater Elliott books, but it was something similar where it was like basically you had like 5 books in each different kind of category, and then you could read them and you can get stickers for them and whatever. At the end of the year they had a like basically trivia game of the books, and you'd make teams. Well, I was in a similar situation where like I had no friends really, because just like nobody, like there's cliquey groups and everything, but I had read every single book except for like 2 on this list of 25. And I was very nervous about going into, like, the librarian was very much like, you should be part of a team or, you know, compete. And I'm like, I don't have a team. Nobody likes me. I was a very much outcast kid. Right. And she was like, you could just you could do it alone. Like, you could just be like the Lone Ranger. That's your thing. And I was like, okay. And she started to convince me to do it. And then one of the girls found out that I had read 22 books. And they're like, you should join our team. We're the NSYNC lovers. And I went, I don't know about this, but then of course being 10 and like social stuff, I agreed, and I carried the fucking shit out of the team. Right. Yep. Same here. It was good. It was really, really good. I did the same thing in high school too, where near the end of the year, we didn't have a lot of time left, and like the teacher hadn't really budgeted the time for stuff. And we had one last book to read and like an in-class essay to do. And it was like senioritis, and I had 2 weeks left of school. I had already finished the book. And he was like, well, somebody just wants to like do an in-class test in front of everybody. What was it? I think it was like 10 questions. If they get 9 out of 10 questions right, then you guys won't have to write the in-class essay. Oh, wow. And the book was The French Lieutenant's Woman. Do you know that book? No, I don't know that book. Anyway, I can barely remember it, but I totally like aced it. Like it was just one question after another, and I'm like, this is this. Fine, no problem. But and then they all picked you up and carried you out of the room. I was forgotten forever, and you were homecoming queen, and it was great. No, I got a lot of cheering and like, yeah, Amber, and then they just went back to ignoring me. Right. You know, we're still the outcast kids, right? I know, it's true. It's all right. Whatever. It's fine. Speaking of being weird at outcast stuff, so there's a thing I don't get in the world. Yeah. And I don't want to offend. Is it QVC? Because I don't get QVC. Is that shopping stuff? Yeah. I don't get that either. Okay. Actually, I have a funny story about that. I was flipping through the channels of just basic hotel stuff, and there was this guy just selling coins. Oh. Like the mints. And his name was Rick Tomaskas, U.S. Coin Show. I don't understand why I would buy coins from my television. Yeah, or whatever. And so same with what I don't understand about what I want to talk about now. Okay. Is people believing in like the power of crystals. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like they get like a, I don't know what kind of crystal. I don't even know, man. But like, let's just say like amethyst is good for digestion. Okay. And then they like put it on their stomach, or like they make an altar or something, and then like they charge their crystals by the moon and stuff. I don't personally understand. Is this real? No, it's not real at all. I mean, it really happens, but no, there's no healing power in crystals. There just aren't. That's just garbage. And do you know anybody that does this? Like, I've heard of these kinds of things. Okay. And like back before they all became vape shops, there were like these. I mean, that's a natural progression of things. Apparently it is, because like there were like these head shops, right? Yeah. And they would sell like Grateful Dead posters and like music and like weird hippie stuff and crystals and stuff. And I think it probably somehow goes to like a new age kind of belief, or maybe even some kind of like paganistic, like natural world thing. Yeah. But if I'm not going to trust like the giant hospital to heal me, I don't think a crystal's going to do anything. Well, but I just don't understand like how those properties could be assigned to what is essentially a mineral, right? Right, exactly. So the reason why I brought this up was because I was recounting this story to somebody else, and I was at a birthday dinner, and there was people I knew, and then there was a couple of people I didn't know. The birthday person had been gifted some crystals, and she was going, oh, and like I thought I knew this person kind of well, and that I didn't really like think she bought into this kind of stuff.
Right.
But then she and the person who gifted her started talking about it, and then he was like holding it in his hand. He was, "I'll activate it for you." And then so he's like holding it and whatever and like talking to Dave, your face that you're making is a face that I started to make on the outside.
Right.
And at first I almost started to laugh because I thought he was just like joking with her too.
Right.
And just like holding it. And then like he puts it back in her hand and goes, and then she's like, "Oh, I can feel that it's heavier now." I turned to Brandon and like my face was just like what your face was like, "Are you fucking
right?
Is this really?
This is the best
real?
thing I've ever seen in my life."
And then like he goes on to tell a story about like he had this one crystal that like incepted these dreams into his head, and like he could like do these things, and I'm like, the fuck am I? I thought I was I mean, this is a nice dinner right now. This is actually pretty funny for me, but also, are they real? Like, is this really happening right now?
Like, the question isn't like, can crystals really like heal my diabetes?
Right.
But the question is, do people really, really believe that? Right? Like, is that, I mean, to me, that's the more interesting question.
I'm so confused by it. But just being just a super practical, so I feel like logical science, rational based person that I am.
Right.
Like, prove me wrong. If you put a crystal on me and my sciatica nerve starts to heal up and feel better, then sure. But
also, I mean,
there's tests are there.
I think a lot of these things come from like get started with a correlation, right? Like, someone does pick up a crystal and their back pain feels better for a minute. And it's like, oh my god,
shit.
The crystal did it. Like, there are all these crazy like folk wisdom shit in my neck of the woods. Like, if the woolly worms are a certain color this year, so it's going to be a hard winter.
Yeah.
Or like you cut open an apple and it looks like the shape of death, and so it means it's something. I don't know, but all this stuff is just garbage. It's really intriguing to me kind of how gullible people are, right? Right.
Like, well, and that's another thing too is like another person I know who's into homeopathy.
Yeah.
And I don't blame people who look for alternate stuff, because if your everyday is pain,
sure,
and it hurts, and like life and medical, like the actual medicine that you get is not working or helping out as much because we're just not there yet.
Right.
I understand why you would want to look for other stuff, and there is some sort of like, what do you call it when you? It's like more of a brain thing,
like a psychosomatic,
psychosomatic reaction to some of this stuff, and I can see how we can trick ourselves into thinking things are fine. But I remember this was a friend of my mom's. I hope she never hears this, because I really feel for her a lot, because she has fibromyalgia and a lot of other pain things. But she was trying to tell Brandon how to test for diabetes, and the way that she did it was she put a sugar in his hand, and she told him to hold his hand out and hold his hand out closed fist and hold his arm out like this.
Okay.
And then she waited 2 minutes, and then she was like, "Look how easy it is for me to push your hand down. That means this is a negative thing to your body, sugar." Dave, exactly. And we're at Disney World when this is happening.
Yeah.
And Brandon is like looking at me, and he loves things like Oh No, Ross and Carrie podcast, which they do a lot of these debunking things. They've been on like things that go on your feet, like the Kanoki pads are supposed to take out bad stuff from your body. And he's just like, Amber, is she being real right now? Because you can't tell. Like at first, it's so ridiculous. Anyway.
Well, I think that it kind of is of a theme with like the episode where we had barbecue sauce as a cure-all medicine, right?
Right.
Because barbecue sauce isn't any better or worse than like an amethyst crystal.
Right.
And it's like when we were catfishing.
Yes.
That like people want to believe the easy story.
Right.
Right? I think that there is a real deficit of cynicism. Right. Right? Like if people just looked at things if you started from the supposition that this is bullshit.
Right.
A lot of that stuff would just cease to exist.
Right.
But I think people start with the supposition of, oh, this must be right.
Right.
There must be a secret diabetes test that I've never heard of.
So yeah, like the people's willingness to believe things And also people who like are supposed to be like the experts of this thing, having this sense of authority and stuff, and it really is misleading. And I think people who like that are maybe inadvertently evil, but still evil. Like it's like you're leading people down this path, like the vaccine stuff. It's really irritating. It just, it makes me so angry.
No, absolutely. And in addition to like that scientific literacy, there's that whole like informational literacy.
Right.
That like, I mean, I got an email from this guy saying I've got like to send him $1,000.
Right.
And, like, the cognitive process to say, that's shit.
That's
like
shit.
This is some guy trying to get $1,000 out of me.
Right.
Like I just so wish that more people had that, like you say, cynicism is probably the word I would use, that would say, no, this is not right. Like, prove it to me, or like, let's somehow let's get to a logical conclusion here.
Right.
Don't take anything at face value. Question everything, and I think you end up as a better person.
I agree, and
which is. Sorry, I'm going to go full circle here, so hold on.
Okay, I'm holding on.
I think when you come up with these baby boomers who are so self-centered and so sure of their own opinions, I think they become doubly ripe for this kind of exploitation.
I agree.
Whether it is someone trying to convince them of, to buy a certain product, gold coins on QVC, or you have someone who's trying to convince them to send them money because they've got this super secret plan.
Or if you wear this magnetic bracelet,
or you wear a magnetic bracelet, or a shirt with copper in it, or like whatever crazy thing they're trying to. It works like a charm on these people because they're so self-assured and so sure that their instincts and opinions are the right ones. That they don't often seek outside validation or outside proof that these things are valid. And I know we're preaching to the choir here because our listeners are smart and educated and don't make bad choices.
Right. I mean, because they're listening to our podcast, so obviously.
Share this with your stupid friends. Share this with your aunts and your grandmothers that are idiots, and make them better.
I don't know if that's like necessarily the way you want to be. Hey, stupid Aunt Joyce.
Really? They're idiots, and they need this podcast. They need to be more skeptical of everything in their life, right?
Right.
Including why are their nieces and nephews giving them this weird podcast and charging them for it? It's free. It's free.
It's free. You know what else is free?
What?
Wisdom.
You know what else is free?
What?
Knowing when to quit.
Oh, is it time to end the show?
I think it's time.
Look at the time.
She's flown right out the window. You know what else flies? It's owls.
Do they? I thought they kind of crawled.
They slither until they molt, and then they take wing. And
it's like metamorphosis.
Yeah.
Okay.
At will, essentially.
so they're owls are shapeshifters.
Yes, absolutely.
I see.
It is. Amber, this has been a delight.
Uh-huh. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yes, and the eye roll means it's extra sincere. Why don't we encourage people to contact us?
Why?
For feedback.
Oh, God. You're opening a gate.
Because I need to know whether it's misanthropic or misanthropic.
Okay, and I need to know anything about the presidents of the United States.
Yes, please send us an email at owls@geekspective.com.
Also, a thing that you could do is send us questions if you have, I don't know, like need advice or something.
Yeah, advice or life problems or just weird quandaries you haven't been able to figure out yet. We've handled a lot of big stuff, but if you have one we haven't addressed yet, send it to us.
Yep.
Please follow us on...
We have a Twitter now.
We do?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
We do have a Twitter.
What have we twoked?
Nothing. I can't remember what the Twitter handle is.
What hath we twote, I believe is...
let me see if I can figure out what the... Oh, no. Wow. I can't find it at all. Maybe I didn't make a podcast.
And maybe you didn't make a Twitter.
Or, maybe I didn't make a Twitter. I swear I did.
Why don't you follow us on the podcast platform of your choice and quit being so damn picky about everything?
Yeah.
People could also support us on Patreon.
Yes, we do have a Patreon. It is patreon.com/geekspective. And it's because we're part of the Geekspective Network.
We are.
Yes.
That's a new development. In the last 8 months or so, we joined the Geekspective Network. They provided us with microphones, a podcast studio, and a platform to actually make a podcast.
Yeah.
Before we were part of the network, we just talked.
I think our Twitter is at bringing_owls. But I could be completely wrong.
Okay. Could we check that and see if there are actually tweets under that?
There's nothing.
Okay. Well, then why are you asking people to follow our Twitter?
Because I was going to put stuff eventually.
Oh, yeah, you should totally put stuff in there.
I will, but you know what? Just eventually look it up and you'll find it.
Yeah. Take some initiative, people.
Oh. Why do I have to hand you everything all of the time?
Why do I have to tell you how to find me?
I'm sorry, I've been preoccupied trying to remember the Twitter I made. My life is a wreck. Maybe if I had some crystals to focus my energies, I could probably like do stuff accurately. So anyway, Twitter, the website's geekspective.com. Fucking shit, I don't know jack crap about how to end the podcast.
Hey, why don't we do this again in 2 weeks? Bye, Amber. Get out.
Please put me in a grave.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, bye.
Bye.